A woman arrested, a 10-year-old injured. How police found the suspect in a hit and run that hurt a little boy.
Orange skies and intense smoke as wildfires singed 25 miles in one day, the latest from out west. Let's hear from the Triad teen who nearly drowned on the North Carolina coast. A nurse on vacation saved his life.
We begin tonight with Guilford County's proposal to get back in the classroom. It puts many elementary school students in their seats on October 20th.
But high school students wouldn't return until late January. The district still has to vote on this plan. WFMY News 2's Marissa Tansino heard from parents and students stunned by this idea.
One of the families I spoke with thought at the beginning of all this, they just have to get through 9 weeks of remote learning. But when they found out high schoolers could be kept out through most of January, it brought them to tears.
It was kind of sad. I wasn't happy about it. She had to really compose herself just to talk today because it is so emotional. And we both get upset about it. So
the thought of spending nearly half her senior year out of school is not the scenario Grimsley High senior Peapod Cavanis or her mother wanted to hear.
I can honestly say that we're at a point where it's starting to take a toll on all of us.
Superintendent Dr. Sharon Contreras proposed the idea. The school board still needs to approve it. If coronavirus numbers are in a good spot, elementary and middle schoolers could return to the classroom by the end of October, but high schoolers would have to wait until January 20th.
Think about it in our position, how much harder it is to learn and understand.
Trey Campbell, a sophomore at Southwest High, says remote learning has certainly been challenging.
Just a little difficult, being able to connect with teachers and be able to talk to them about the subjects.
His mother, Catherine, says she's worried about the lack of social interaction for kids, not only with teachers, but with other students.
I would like to see them go back with all the rest of the kids. I'd like to see them treated equally, fairly. Their education is just as important.
Superintendent Contreras says the gradual re-entry is to help everyone get used to new protocols. Again, this is just a proposal at this point. The school board will vote on this at the end of the month.
Marissa, thank you. Here's a closer look at that phased approach we've been hearing about. Kindergarten through second graders would go back full-time on October 20th. On October 26th, a week later, grades 3 through 5 would go fully in person. 6th through 8th grade students would alternate in person and remote. High school students wouldn't start their alternating schedule until January 20th.
The Surry County School District is bringing students back to the classroom. It'll start Plan B on September 21st and go with a staggered learning approach. For the first 2 weeks, students will do 4 days of remote learning and 1 day in person. After that, it changes. Starting October 5th, kindergarten through 3rd grade will be in person Monday through Thursday with Friday remote. Everyone else will do 3 days remote and 2 days in person. You can find the full plan on WFMYnews2.com. In case you missed it, last week, Stokes County Schools announced its decision to move to Plan B. Students will alternate remote and in person starting next Monday.
New at 11, High Point police arrested the driver they say hit a little boy at the bus stop. Officers say Kiara Dockery turned herself in this afternoon. She faces a felony hit and run charge after police say she hit a 10-year-old boy on Willard Road, then drove off. The child went to the hospital for his injuries, but is expected to be okay. Officers say he was picking up lunch from a Guilford County school bus when it happened. Today, the district moved the bus stop on Willard Road down to the intersection at Anaheim.
I implore the community to watch for children as they are driving. School is not in session, so they should expect that children are out and about.
High Point police thanked people who called in to Crime Stoppers. They say several people reported seeing the car involved. Greensboro police are still searching for the man who killed a 39-year-old mother of 2. Tamika Minor died last month on East Market Street. Police say 37-year-old John Mitchell shot her 9 times, then ran her over. Minor's cousin says she can't imagine why anyone would do this to her.
To shoot someone 9 times, to run over them, that's heartless. and to still, be able to walk around, look yourself in the mirror, like, I don't understand.
Mitchell is now wanted for first-degree murder, and he has a lengthy criminal history.
A Greensboro bar owner lost his alcohol license after a deadly shooting outside of his business. Lawrence Chandler owns Ambiance Event Center on Teague Street. ALE agents charge him with failing to oversee his business. Investigators say a fight started inside the bar Saturday night, then moved out to the parking lot. And that's when somebody shot and killed 21-year-old Keith Edwards. Police are still looking for the shooter tonight.
There are a lot of pages and lines of rules in Governor Cooper's executive order, so it's important you read the fine print. Take a look. This is an excerpt from the Phase 2 order. It defines bars as an establishment that sells alcohol and isn't a restaurant. We'll now look at this excerpt from the Phase 2.5 order. Can you spot the difference? 3 little words with a massive impact. Bars is now defined as an establishment that sells alcohol and is not an eating establishment or restaurant. Now, in plain terms, this adjustment means bars that were selling food as a loophole to avoid closing must now shut down. We've already seen a few close their doors just over the past couple of days. Single Brothers and Vintage Sofa Bar in Winston-Salem both posted on Facebook today. They said they're closing to comply with the governor's orders, and they hope to reopen again soon.
We are hearing from the owner of a Greensboro brewery that's closing permanently soon. Gibbs 100 Brewing Company posted on Facebook that it's shutting down for good this Sunday after 6 years in business. Owner Mark Gibbs says the pandemic played a role in their recent financial struggles.
Obviously a difficult decision, and we did everything we could to keep going, and it's been 6 years. It's been a good ride, and we really, have enjoyed being part of the community, and so it's really tough to say goodbye to that, but we had to do what we had to do.
Many remember Gibbs' original location in downtown Greensboro, now the site of South End Brewing. Gibbs spent the last 2 years on State Street.
No doubt about it, Turneytown got robbed this year, and it's not over yet. Greensboro missed out on the ACC and NCAA tournaments. Well, now the HACO tournament is canceled. High school basketball games are postponed until January, so that nixes the holiday tournaments. Greensboro Days head coach told us he'll take his team to a tournament in South Carolina instead, the Beach Ball Classic in Myrtle Beach.
New tonight, President Trump's campaign in the Triad continues. Tonight, it was in High Point. Eric Trump, the president's son, spoke at AA Stables. In a speech, he shared why he believes his father should be reelected. We spoke to him after the event.
There's tremendous love in North Carolina. I mean, just tremendous love. I've been here all day, and you see the crowds and hundreds of people. I'm not the candidate. I just represent the candidate, and there's so much love out there. There's people holding American flags and wearing Make America Great Again hats and bringing their kids, and it's just a beautiful thing to see. It's really a beautiful sight, and when you drive around, you see as many Trump signs as there are and Trump banners as there are all over the place. It's a beautiful thing, and it's great to be here as always.
Tomorrow, the president's other son will be in North Carolina. Donald Trump Jr. is coming to Hendersonville in the North Carolina mountains. He'll speak at a campaign rally at Point Lookout Vineyards at 3 p.m. It wraps up a week full of visits from the president's campaign.
Meantime, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden took his campaign to Detroit. Michigan has lost about 70,000 manufacturing jobs just since March. While speaking with steel industry workers, Biden commented on recent protests.
They're allowed to protest, period. But anybody who torches a car, smashes windows, breaks into a store, I don't care who they are. It's illegal. It's wrong. It's violence. They should be arrested if you can arrest them.
Polls show the former VP leading in Michigan, but voters still say they prefer President Trump to fix the economy.
Hundreds of American paratroopers returned to U.S. soil tonight. 200 soldiers returned to Fort Bragg today. They were stationed in the Middle East in support of Operation Inherent Resolve. Even more troops should be coming home soon. U.S. Central Command tweeted this today. They say defense officials will reduce troop presence in Iraq this month from about 5,200 to 3,000.
Hanging Rock State Park is looking for the motorcyclist who ran over a park ranger last weekend. Park leaders say the man even rode onto the lower Cascade trails. Investigators say the suspect ran over the victim when they told the man motorcycles aren't allowed on trails. They're offering a $300 reward.
Well, right now, wildfires continue to rage across the western United States. They've stretched more than 25 miles today alone. Take a look at the effect it has on the sky there. Red in parts of Oregon, orange in San Francisco. And the scariest part, this is not the night sky. These images were taken at 9 o'clock this morning. The Pacific Northwest has been decimated by the wildfires. Entire towns in Oregon and Washington have been wiped out by the flames. Tonight, Washington State reported its first death from the fire. In Oregon, a 12-year-old boy and his grandmother were killed.
This could be the greatest loss of human lives and property due to wildfire in our state's history.
Dozens of families are now under a mandatory evacuation orders tonight. Those areas in desperate need of rain here in the Piedmont Triad, Tim, we have more chances for the next several days.
Yeah, Julie, I mean, that's just incredibly difficult to watch, especially when, here I'm having mist and rain and drizzle happening in Greensboro. This is what's happening outside in our community. We have plenty of moisture. Temperature 72 degrees. The dew point is also 72, so the humidity is 100% at the moment, at least in Greensboro. Looking across the area, generally in the low to mid 70s. That's where we're going to hang out for temperatures throughout the overnight hours. Just a little bit of an organized rain shower here in Randolph County at the moment, but like I said, there's a lot of shallow mist and drizzle even that's not really showing up on radar very well. The main idea for the next couple of days is the same as what we saw today. Ominous looking clouds, only occasional showers or storms. Notice this is not a very busy radar, is it? But at any time tomorrow, any time on Friday, you could get caught in a scattered shower or a downpour even as well. The winds are coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. That's why it's going to be so muggy, and those showers will continue to track from east to west. Here's your plan for tomorrow. Low 70s early on, topping out right around 80 degrees. For tomorrow, going to call for a high of 82. This is going to be your Thursday with occasional showers possible, and you can hold me to that. Coming up, the latest updates, new tracks here on Paulette and Renee.
A Winston-Salem teenager is back home tonight after a scary trip to the beach with his family. He had a seizure while in the water and nearly died.
Off-duty first responders weren't about to let that happen. WFMY News 2's Alma McCarty talked to the family, grateful for the help of strangers.
It took only moments for the feeling of helplessness to wash over Catherine Wadford.
And mother's instinct is to immediately kind of jump in there. He wasn't even blue, he was gray. He was just completely lifeless and laying there. And I knew that I couldn't do anything for him.
On Saturday at Oak Island, her son, Jackson Boswell, who has epilepsy, had a seizure while in the water. Jackson's siblings and his stepdad couldn't reach him.
The water was great. There shouldn't have been no reason that I shouldn't have been able to get to him, but God kept me away from him because he knew I couldn't do nothing for him.
But it just so happened that nurses and firefighters were already on the beach and pulled him to shore.
It was kind of like a surreal moment because all these people who just didn't know him came together and started helping, and it was it's crazy how people can just do that.
Catherine said after 3 to 5 minutes of compressions, the nurse from Greensboro got a pulse.
That was kind of a sigh of relief. It wasn't really the full sigh of relief that I was looking for yet.
They rushed Jackson to a nearby hospital. His mother prayed for a stronger sign of hope. The next day, his mom squeezed his hand and he opened his eyes.
He couldn't say that he knew that it was us at that point, but we knew it by the way that he looked when he looked at us.
Before heading home, Jackson met some of the heroes who helped him. He told me that seizure was one of the worst.
I have had some serious happen that close to that before.
Reflecting now, his family is grateful, praising God for the Good Samaritans on the beach when they needed them most.
He shows himself and reveals himself to us in every situation.
Alma McCarty, WFMY News 2.
This is just an amazing story. He is from Winston-Salem. The nurse who saved him is from Greensboro, and this happened in Oak Island. I'd have to say this is divine intervention.
Absolutely. And it's crazy when you look at the pictures of him lying in that hospital bed and then knowing that the next day he was able to come off the ventilator and now he's back home.
Yeah, and he's talking to us.
A miraculous
That's awesome.
recovery. Well, a drug company is pumping the brakes on its coronavirus vaccine trial. Why health experts say that's actually a good sign. It's next.
Several drug companies are in phase 3 clinical trials to develop a coronavirus vaccine, but one of them had to put everything on pause this week.
AstraZeneca and Oxford University halted testing on its vaccine after they discovered a possible side effect in a subject in the United Kingdom. They would only say it was a potentially unexplained illness.
The American public should be assured there are no shortcuts in the vaccine development part.
I think Americans do have a right to be skeptical, but if this process is allowed to complete, I'm very confident that we'll have a safe and effective, or multiple safe and effective vaccines.
A CBS News poll found just 21% of voters would get a vaccine as soon as it's available. Those concerns reached a Senate panel today. Trump administration health officials answered questions about whether politics is playing a role in vaccine development.
The rigor of the scientific evaluation of safety and efficacy will not be compromised.
There has been no politicization of the vaccine process. There will be no shortcuts. And when a vaccine is either approved or authorized by the FDA, I and my family will be in line to get it.
The director of the National Institute of Health says the pause in AstraZeneca's trial should be reassuring. He says that's the way things should work. Well, Tim, taking a look at the bottom right corner of our screen there, 71 degrees. How low are we going this evening?
That's about it. Yeah, I don't think we're moving much more than that, Jed. In fact, the dew point temperature right now is just about 71. So by definition, the temperature can't go lower than that. Anyway, look at how miserable it is right now in Greensboro. It's really an aggressive drizzle. I know that doesn't sound really like it makes any sense. But truthfully, it's very light rain, but it's coming down kind of aggressively. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Misty is what it is at the moment. And this is just part of all the moisture that we still have moving in across the state. This tropical air mass is just going to be here for a little while. Don't plan on it moving. It's just going to be this way throughout the course of the week. And kind of the weather pattern across the country right now, it's warm and muggy along the east coast with occasional showers because of all that Atlantic moisture. In the middle of the country, you saw the headlines about the wild weather in the west. They have this very large dip in the jet stream here, causing the extremely cool and cold weather, bringing the snowstorm to Colorado. In the far west coast, there is no moisture at all. That's why they're having the big fire issues. And then you have that jet stream kind of carrying some moisture on a different front in the Great Lakes. Dialing it back here to home, we see that same weather pattern until something changes it. So for tomorrow, the wind's still coming in off the ocean. Occasional showers, but not very frequent, are likely. Similar story for Friday and for Saturday and Sunday. This front trying to get closer, but it's not going to make too much progress. The nice weather later on this week will be to our north in the Great Lakes and the Northeast. So our rain chances will be about where they were today. Pretty good to see an occasional shower here or there, but not all day washouts. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you've got to have a rain plan just to go inside for an hour or two here or there. All told, though, before it's all said and done, by Monday, we could end up with between 2 and 3 inches of rain in parts of the area. The humidity trend, pretty bad for now, but encouraging going into next week. By Tuesday and Wednesday, it is possible we could get some more refreshing fall air. Little update on the tropics for you. 2 systems I am watching that are active, Paulette and Renee. Renee, not really worth talking about. It's going to curve out to sea. Paulette should also be one that curves out to sea, but it's a little closer to home, so it's at least worth mentioning. The current forecast now does have it intensifying to a hurricane near Bermuda. This would be by Monday and Tuesday of next week. Bermuda is right there, by the way. Here's North Carolina. The track will very likely be this, just curving right out to sea. The computer models show this almost exclusively, so not really a concern at the moment, but rip currents and waves, they will be a factor in places like the Outer Banks next week. 7-day forecast for us. We're keeping the tropical moisture around all the way through Monday of next week. But after that, it does appear likely that fall weather could make a little bit of a return to our area, similar to what we had this past weekend.
Can you believe we're going to be watching Carolina Panthers football in 4 days? Hear what head coach Matt Rhule is telling his players before their Week 1 showdown. It's next.
Even more of this moisture into the state. So here's what Futurecast has to say. Going into tonight, mainly quiet, but by tomorrow, even the morning or midday hours could have several of these scattered showers and occasionally some more robust downpours. So you got to be ready for rain at any time. It's not going to be a washout, but occasionally it could rain pretty hard for 30 minutes or so. Going into Thursday, it's more of the same and a similar story for Friday. This is a persistent, muggy, and occasionally wet weather pattern, and it takes us through the weekend. Temperatures aren't that bad, only in the mid to upper 70s tomorrow. But again, it comes with the humidity and that sticky feel and the showers from time to time. Let's call for high of 77 degrees. That's your Wednesday. You can hold me to that. Coming up, we'll be talking about the Tropics 2 systems and maybe more on the way.
A teenager nearly drowned at the coast over the weekend. He was swimming at Oak Island when he had a seizure.
17-year-old Jackson Boswell is from Winston-Salem and has epilepsy. He started having an episode while walking into the waves. Somebody standing nearby saw him floating in the water and sprung into action.
Holly Quinn is an off-duty nurse from Greensboro who was vacationing at the coast with her family. She started compressions and likely saved Jackson's life.
He got back his pulse and EMS crews brought him to the hospital to recover. His family calls it a miracle.
If God had not placed the people strategically on the beach on Saturday at Oak Island, our child wouldn't be alive. We would be planning a funeral, not planning on going home.
And some more good news here. Jackson was taken off a ventilator on Sunday and is now breathing on his own.
Glad to see that he is doing so much better. We're all spending a lot more time on our phones, tablets, computers. That's what happens when many people are working remotely.
Right, health experts are concerned about all that screen time, not for what it does to your eyes, but what it does to your breathing. It's next.